Hey, it could happen. Happy Victory Monday, Lions fans. Can you believe that we are saying that now 4 out of the last 5 weeks? Because I can't, and it is not artificial. These are legit wins. Now look, man, over the last 5 weeks, I gotta say, the Lions are looking electric. When you look at our offense, when you look at the amount of points we're putting up 28.4 points per game over the last 5 weeks specifically. You're looking at Green Bay was 15, Chicago 31, another 31 game against the Giants. From there, it was 25 against the Bills, and then yesterday, 40 against the Jags, 28.4 points a game. Our offense, since the beginning of the season, it showed up. It was showing who we were. But now, there is something, the chemistry, the gelling, it's all coming together. Jared Goff having a day yesterday. Now listen, it's never good to put the cart before the horse. However, just for 1 minute, entertaining the idea that our Detroit Lions could make a playoff run. It is true. It is possible. It's wild, and it's going to take all of the work on our end, on the Lions end, and then help from other teams. Yesterday, the worst possible scenario could have happened for Detroit, and it was New York, the Giants, and Washington tying. First of all, I'm sorry, what? How? What? Who are you? It was as if both of them, heading out for the coin flip at overtime, said, hey, how should we screw Detroit and secure our chances? And that's what they did. They gave us the bird. But basically, the Lions are at the 5th spot in the wild card hunt. Top 3 teams make it at the moment. You're looking at Dallas, the Giants, Seahawks, Commanders, and us. The problem is, being that we have the tiebreaker over both the Giants and the Commanders, now it doesn't matter, because we're not going to finish with the same record. Most likely, we won't finish with the same record. So you're sort of in this situation where we have to hop 2 of these teams, those teams being Seattle, the Giants, or the Commanders, in order to do that. The problem is we also lost the tiebreaker. We do not have the tiebreaker with Seattle. So really, we got to jump 2 of these teams, and that means we got to win out. The Lions need every bit of help that they can get. We got to get 10 W's on the board in order to even be able to have a shot at it. From there, we need both the Giants and the Commanders to really sputter out and stall, as one might say, stalling. Now, earlier this season, I did predict that the Lions would be up until the very end of this in it for a wild card race, and it would all come down to week 18 against the Packers at Lambeau, and that we would lose and we would not make the wild card. That is a real possibility, weirdly enough. That was my assumption, was we were going to be in it to the very end, week 18, and Rodgers would say one more time for old time's sake and stop Detroit from getting that wild card spot. It is possible. Again, that means that the Lions got to win 4 of these next 5 games to even be in that situation. You're looking at Minnesota, the Jets, the Panthers, the Bears, and then, of course, the Packers. For the Lions to have the best shot, they got to win out. For the rest of the season, we got to win each game. Hey, it could happen. But again, as we are entertaining this thought, the most important thing to do here is not let our emotions get the best of us, because believe you me, I want to be through the roof at this possibility, but with a little bit of zen and a whole lot of realism, we have to look and say, the best you can do, the best we can do, the best the Lions can do is take each week as it comes and say, this is the only thing that matters. This is the only thing that matters. Celebrate yesterday, celebrate beating the Jags, but truly say all that we have is this week ahead of us. That's all you got. You got to go 1-0. And if you go 1-0, then you go in the next week and you go 1-0 again. And then you go and you continue, so on and so forth. But right now, yes, the playoffs, though alluring, the only thing that matters is Minnesota. A team that I'm not afraid of, that I don't think our fellas are afraid of, that I don't think really anybody should be afraid of, especially watching them yesterday, watching them against Dallas, even Buffalo. It's like there's this part of Minnesota where they're obviously winning our division. However, when I look at them, I think we can beat them. Not afraid of them. Not afraid of the Vikings. I think the Lions can come out, especially if our offense has been playing at the caliber it has been, and our defense. Because our defense is finally actually gelling. You really see it these last 3 to 4 weeks. The defense coming together and working as one single unit. The young guys. James Houston, 2 games, 3 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson, Jeff Okudah playing lights out at the corner position. Alex Anzalone coming into his own, really being the guy that we need at the linebacker position. What I'm trying to say here is we need not be afraid of any one of these games going into it. Each week, Minnesota, starting with them. I think we could beat them. Should have beat them earlier in the season. And I think we could beat them this Sunday. And that's not just the Kool-Aid talking. I believe that the Lions can beat the Vikings. Simply put. And if you go 1-0 this week, then you celebrate it and you go 1-0 the next week. Our offense had an absolutely magnificent game against the Jaguars. I believe it was the first time since the 80s, I think the stat was 1984, George Orwell, that the Lions had a total of 31 first downs as an offense. 31 first downs. Jared Goff himself having 21 of those first downs. 340 yards. I mean, we didn't punt. We didn't punt the friggin' ball once. And I felt like I was watching a playoff caliber team. Now, I know some people might be like, oh, well, it's the Jags. The Jags have a lot of young talent. That is a team that is rebuilding. There is young talent there. And seeing what we did against them, watching us in the game against the Bills, a Super Bowl caliber team. Watching our guys go and dog it against them. Seeing St. Brown yesterday really be put into a league of his own. St. Brown is an absolute stud. And the fact that we have him, we have so much to be thankful for. DJ Chark emerging and showing us why we went and got him in free agency. And then J-Mo out on the field at the same time. Just giving us a glimpse. Some people were like, oh man, we want more J-Mo. We got to make sure we keep him healthy. Got to make sure he doesn't get injured out there. It was enough to just sort of whet the appetite in regards to seeing him out there. Obviously, he had that one play up the sideline. He was unhappy with the results of it. But you know what, man? He did not disappoint. We got to see him on the field. We figured there was going to be a pitch count. Let's see what he does against Minnesota. A little bit more time. When those 3 guys are together, those 3 wide receivers, that is a dangerous, dangerous squad. DeAndre Swift looked like himself for the first time since probably Philly. Maybe not at his fullest extent. However, we did see the juice. We saw a little bit of that explosiveness that we haven't seen all season since week 1, week 2. Williams continuing to be Williams. The O-line were absolute studs yesterday, protecting Goff, giving him enough time to allow each play to develop, the routes to develop. I could sit here and I could gush over our boys all day because this Detroit Lions team is different. They are coming out and they are proving themselves to be a real squad. The rebuild is working. Earlier this year, I said I want 7 wins. I need 7 wins to know that the rebuild is working. In the last 5 weeks, I can look and say, without a total of 7 wins this season, the rebuild is working. The young guys, the rookies, the coaching staff, everything that we are doing around them is working. It's exciting, man. It is absolutely exciting. And yes, the allure of playoffs are there. They're there. And if this team can make it into the playoffs, this is a team that can win a playoff game. I know. The Kool-Aid is strong with this one. You bet your ass it is. Pour it all over me like it's Nickelodeon slime time. That this team, if we can squeak into the playoffs, this is a team that can get that first W that we haven't had in a while. But before we get there and we put the cart ahead of the horse, the number one thing is this week. Beat Minnesota. Beat them. Beat the Vikings. Show the NFL who we really are, that we can beat a playoff caliber team, because that is where we have struggled. We have not been able to beat these playoff teams. Losing to the Bills, Philadelphia, Dallas, you name it, all the playoff caliber teams we have lost to thus far. We have beat all the teams that are not going to the playoffs. Can we actually beat a playoff caliber team? Beat the Vikings. That's what we need. There is so much excitement, my friends. Enjoy this Victory Monday. I have way too much pent-up energy. Maybe I'll go do a lap around the block, bring my Lions flag, and just be waving it. And people be like, what are we doing here? And I'll say, I don't know. Didn't know how to close this one. Merry Christmas. That wasn't it either. Let's see. Isengard.